whipping it, whipping it, whipping it, whipping it, whipping it, whipping it, whipping it.
Yo, what's good with y'all boys? And today we about to be ranking the Scream movies from worst to best. And yeah, I'm a pretty big fan of all the Scream movies. Scream is my favorite horror movie of all time, and one of my favorite movies of all time. So just take that into consideration. Like I said, I like all these movies, even the last one. So some of them are more disappointing to me than others, but I like all of them and I enjoy all of them. Coming in sixth place, we got Scream 3. Yeah, most people say that this is probably one of the worst ones. But if this is your worst movie in your franchise, you got a pretty good franchise. So yeah, one of the positives for me on this movie is this is one of the only movies that has one killer. Like if it's your first time watching Scream 3, you're kind of like sitting back waiting for the other killer to show up, and he just doesn't show up, which is kind of like, it kind of works in its favor because it makes it unique, and I like that about it. One of the reasons why Scream 3 is just this low to me is because it's so forgettable. A lot of the things that they go for have either already been done in other Scream movies or already been done in other horror movies, and they just have been done way better, executed in way better fashion. You know, Roman, not the best killer, not the worst killer in the Scream franchise, but we've seen killers like him a million times executed way better in other movies. Coming in at number 5, we got the newest movie, Scream 6. And yeah, this movie was decent. You know, like I wasn't disappointed. It has my favorite opening. A lot of people say that the first movie has the best opening. I enjoyed the new movie's opening because it exceeded my expectations. Because whenever that happened, you're sitting there thinking, you know, like, what's gonna happen now? Because you're sitting there thinking, man, you're gonna be around the killer the whole movie, but then he ends up dying by the other Ghostface. And one of the other positives about me, I like movies that honestly go in different directions whenever in franchises, because some franchises just get burnt out after a while, you know, like that's why I'm not the biggest fan of franchises like Friday the 13th or Halloween. I just feel like every Friday the 13th and Halloween movie is the same. This is one of the movies that has pretty gruesome kills in it. I'd say that this probably has the second most gruesome kills in the franchise, besides Scream 4. And then you got the Carpenter sisters. I like their character arcs in this movie. I think that their character arcs together works really well. Maybe not alone, it doesn't work as well, but whenever you put their character arcs together, it works a lot better. And then you got Kirby returning, but the biggest problem for Scream 6 to me is just it has my least favorite killers. Worst killers in the whole franchise to me. I was not interested. Once the killers reveal themselves, the movie just, I honestly just want to turn the movie off at that point because I just don't care. But yeah, coming in at number 4, we got Scream 2. And this is one of the other really creative openings. I'd say 4 Scream movies have really creative openings, and they do something different than other movies do. And this is one of them. You know, we're at the movie theater, and then the 2 people get picked off. Also, I like the killers in this movie and the motive. This is where the quality in movies goes way up from Scream 6 and Scream 3. These movies, from now on, are great films. There's really good killers in these movies. And like I said, the motive of, you know, Mrs. Loomis coming back for revenge is a really good motive, really relatable. You know, if your son or daughter got killed, you probably wouldn't be too happy about it. And then you got the death of Randy. It's a very sad death, and then it's very impactful on the series. We still talk about Randy's death to this day. You know, there's still characters that are related to Randy that come up to this day because he's such an iconic character, and his death meant so much to the series. Randy was a side character pretty much in Scream 1 and Scream 2, and he's one of the most iconic characters in horror history. And then, you know, the ending in this movie is just crazy as fuck. like the whole, like whenever you watch this movie on the first time, like I wish I could go back to watching this movie for the first time. It is a crazy ass ending, you know, like from whenever Dewey gets, you know, he just gets fucking stabbed like 10 times right in front of Gale. And then the chaos ensues whenever the killers reveal themselves, and then Cotton comes in with a gun, and then it's just fucking, like, there's like this big fucking three-way stand going on, like, Cotton doesn't know who the fuck to trust. Yeah, man, this movie's great. Like I said, the characters are almost always good in Scream movies. This movie has good characters. It's crazy as hell. I love Scream 2, one of the best horror sequels ever, if you ask me. Okay, so coming in at number 3, we got Scream 5. There's just a lot of good characters in Scream. You know, in Scream 5, you got the Carpenter sisters, you got Richie, you got Clay from 13 Reasons Why. I forgot his name in real life. You got him. You got Mindy and her brother. But yeah, this movie just has really good characters, really good killers, and well, the girl killer is not as good as Richie, but I still enjoy her, and I think that her reveal is the best reveal in the whole series. Whenever you're just sitting there, and they're just standing around, and then she's like, yeah, I'm the fucking killer. Boom! Just blows her brains out. That's my favorite reveal in the whole series. Whenever I was sitting in the theater, I was like, yeah, she's got to be the killer. She's got to be the killer. And I was just sitting there waiting for it, but I didn't think that, like, she was gonna literally blow her brains out all over the fucking wall. Like, she just straight up, yeah, it's me, bitch. Boom! And you're like, what the fuck? Like, whenever you watch that movie on the first time, like, that's a good reveal. And then the whole part of whenever she gets thrown up on the stove and her hair gets lit on fire and shit, I fuck with her. A lot of people didn't fuck with her as much. She did go a little bit too off the rails. Let's say that right now. She went a little too off the rails. But if you can get past the crazy over-the-top acting that she does, it's not as bad as the characters in Scream 6. I'll say that. They went way more over the top than she did, and I hated them way more. Whenever I watch Scream 6, I appreciate her character way more now, because I realize she's not as bad as them. She ain't as bad as them. And yeah, this is one of the movies where they had really gruesome kills. You know, like whenever Clay got killed, he got stabbed in the neck and it like went through his shit. There's just a lot of good kills in this movie. Alrighty, so coming in at number 2, we got Scream 4. And this is another movie with another great set of characters. So yeah, I went and looked it up. This is definitely Wes Craven's last movie. And yeah, it's just another good set of characters. Like I said, Jill is a kick-ass fucking killer. Charlie is that his name, right? The other killer. He's not as good of a killer, but he's, you know, it's still kind of decent whenever he stabs Kirby or whatever. You know, it has stakes in the future, and it turns her into the cop, so, you know, whatever. And, yeah, this has a kick-ass killer reveal. Like I said, whenever Jill comes out, she takes off her mask, and she's like, yeah, I'm so sick and tired of the family talking about you, Sydney, yada yada yada. And then she like stabs Sydney, and she thinks she's dead, and then she proceeds to fucking go crazy as hell after she killed Charlie and just stab herself. And then she like runs into the fucking picture on the wall, throws herself through a table, fucking Ric Flair style. Goddamn. I mean, she gets fucked up. The police get there, and like, you know, if you're a cop, you got there, you see that bitch, you're like, oh shit, there's no way she's the fucking killer. So you pick her up, you know, you bring her to the hospital, and then, you know, the ending was a little disappointing for some people. Over time, I've learned to get past it, and it's growing on me more. So, and this is where the franchise, to me, started with the most gruesome kills, and I think this has the most gruesome kills in the franchise. Not that any movie in this franchise really has gruesome kills. I mean, if you're a horror fan, none of these kills in this franchise are going to get to you. But if you don't watch horror movies, you can watch like the sequence in this movie where the killer stabs Jill's friend while they're watching from across the window, and he stabs her like 30 fucking times and her intestines come out. Like, that's one of the scenes, like, if you don't watch horror movies, and you're like a female and you just watch The Notebook and shit like that, like, and then you watch this movie, you're gonna be like, ooh, did her fucking intestines just come out? Oh my god! But yeah, you'll be freaking out and shit, like, if you're a guy like me and you watch horror movies all the time, you just got done watching Saw or some shit, it ain't nothing but a G thing. Yeah, this movie has some pretty gruesome kills, you know, some pretty gruesome moments, like I said, whenever Jill rips her hair out and she stabs herself, throws herself through the glass and through the table and all that shit. Like, those are some of the more gruesome moments in the Scream franchise. Whenever the cop gets stabbed in the forehead, that's one of the most gruesome moments in the Scream franchise. Like I said, this has some of the most gruesome kills. It doesn't go too far, but for Scream standards, it's pretty fucking far. And then this movie has a really creative opening. It's just like, whenever you're watching it and then you notice you're inside of a movie, you're like, holy shit, what the fuck? And then you realize you're actually in the real movie. Whenever Marnie, is that her name? The two girls get killed at the beginning. So yeah, you realize you're in the movie whenever they actually get killed, and then the title screen rolls over, Scream 4. And then coming in at number 1, you got my favorite horror movie of all time, Scream 1, 1996. And one of the reasons why this movie is my favorite horror movie of all time is because it has my favorite set of characters in almost any movie, definitely my favorite set of characters in any horror movie. So even the character at the beginning, played by Drew Barrymore, whenever you first watch this movie, you think that she's going to be the main character, and then Wes Craven, he flips the script on you and says, nope, she ain't the main character, this other girl is. My favorite killers in the whole franchise are in this movie, Billy and Stu. Billy is just like, we're still talking about him in this new movie with the Carpenter sisters. And then Stu is my favorite killer ever. He's just like crazy as shit. Like, you didn't have to hit me with the phone, you fucking dick. Yeah, like I said, this movie just had really good characters. This movie is really meta. This is like where Wes Craven took his ideas from New Nightmare and just made it into a masterpiece. Like I said, this is where all the shit you see in the new Scream movies, all the rules and all that shit, that came from this movie. And yeah, Scream 1 is an iconic movie. It sparked a horror icon, bro. Like, we still talk about Scream today. We're still making Scream movies 20, 30 years later almost now. It's like, it's crazy what Wes Craven did with that one movie, and it's crazy. We still are having effects from it today, bro. But yeah, bro, thanks for sticking around and watching my ranking. You already know the motherfucking deal. G safe, y'all.